We've got the fully synthetic diesel 530 Penrite 10 litre oil, the drain pan, the filter attachment, and some basic tools with gloves. Here's the Nissan Navara. The very first thing that we're going to do is obviously turn on the car and get it to operating temperature. So you can see here it's due for a next oil change in about 1,400 Ks. Make sure to loosen the oil filler cap before draining the oil. Using a breaker bar and a 14mm socket, I was able to remove the drain bolt. I try to change the oil more frequently than the service intervals because it can get dirty from the blow-by and soot caused by a diesel engine. Removing the engine cover is pretty straightforward. There are two 10mm bolts that need to be unscrewed, and then the engine cover, you have to pull it towards you and it will come out. The next thing would be to remove the fuel filter, and that's because we want access to the oil filter. So the oil filter is down there where you can see those numbers. If you're going to remove any hoses from the fuel filter, it's just a good idea to release the pressure from the system. The fuel filter is mounted to the firewall using two 12mm nuts. You want to use a socket extension just to get underneath there, as you can see, and loosen them. To protect the engine bay from any fuel spillages, make sure to get an old rag, put it underneath when undoing the hose clamps and removing the fuel hoses. There's a moisture sensor cable that needs to be disconnected, and also when removing the fuel filter, just keep it in an upright position. Just be careful with the fuel filter because it does have a lot of diesel fuel in there, and if you can shake it, you can hear it. This oil filter removal tool that I use works in a way where when twisted, it either opens or closes to clamp onto the oil filter. I usually use two socket extensions attached to the oil filter removal tool just to make it easier for me to rotate it. This is the oil filter that I've just removed. You can see how dark the oil is. Fresh engine oils being applied to the oil filter gasket. Torque spec for the filter is about 16 Newton meters. You can probably get away with hand tightening the filter, but just to be on the safe side, I use a torque wrench. Handling the 10 litre oil can be a bit of a hassle, but make sure you know exactly where your indicator lines on the can itself are, just so you know you're putting in the right amount of oil. Once you're on the 6 litre mark, check the oil using the dipstick. Make sure the grooves are facing out towards you. You want to keep adding oil until the oil level is between those two dots. Reinstalling everything is done in the reverse order, but make sure to prime the fuel filter to repressurize the system before starting the car. It usually takes about 10 to 15 primes to build up that pressure. Once you've changed the oil and you've put on the next service sticker, what you want to do is you want to reset the next service counter on the dash. So to do that, just put in the key and turn it into the on position without starting. Press the trip meter button and then you'll see that the spanner starts flashing. The next thing you want to do is you want to keep pressing it until you reach your next service case. So in my case, it's about 10,000. Once you've reached that, give it another couple of seconds, then it will progress to the next screen. Oil's good. That means the oil level's all good and it should be saved in the system. After you've put everything back together, it'd be a good idea to just go for a quick drive, let the oil circulate through the system, and then double check the oil again using the dipstick, just in case you need to make any fine adjustments. So I guess that concludes the oil change instructional video. I hope that you found it easy to follow and you successfully changed the oil on your Navara.